Super Soul Warrior, Warrior Dwan. I'm coming at you live in the Purple Palace of Wisdom. The topic that I have right now is, was Elvis Presley a thief? Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and throw something out there because I was kind of upset. I really didn't know what this article really said because it was thrown out by one of my best friends, Romeo. The thing is, he had a thing that he put out there from the Washington Post, who I really despise because I can't really stand that newspaper or usually any news, mainstream news media, I should say. But he put it out there, and on the front of the headline it said, Big Mama Thornton had this song named Hound Dog, and then here comes Elvis Presley. Now usually I can't really go ahead and say that it was the Washington Post that was really going on and throwing shade, but Elvis Presley has been getting a lot of shade lately, and it really struck a nerve in me. Now, mind you, I might be a little biased at this point because I am a real big fan of Elvis Presley. I really loved his style and everything, but I'll go ahead and talk about that in a few. So I seen this, and it was on the Washington Post, and it was just basically saying how he, I'm thinking that, or as stories I have seen, basically saying that he, stole the song, and, and it's been said for many, many years that he stole music from people and especially black people, and just, made it whatever he wanted, got all the money from it and everything like that. Well, I'm going to go ahead and set the story straight. And this is usually from the historian of Graceland, and you can look these facts up that I'm about to go ahead and run down on you at this point in time. First of all, Elvis Presley, came from Tupelo, Mississippi, and went into moved to Tennessee with his parents and everything, and it was basically to get better job opportunity and stuff like that. And he grew up basically in a black neighborhood and in the projects. You know what I mean? The projects where he was at, it was full of white people, but he would go on the other side of the tracks many times over. My whole point is, when he got big, right, he had like some writers and everything, and one of the most famous writers that he had was a gentleman by the name of Otis Blackwell. Otis Blackwell is one of is the guy who wrote All Shook Up or Don't Be Cruel, and basically he was a black writer who was paid and given credit for those songs, and those songs are two examples of what he did. But my point is, as racist as a lot of people feel Elvis Presley was, I'm here to go ahead and show you that it wasn't, because if you go through our history of black music, especially in the 50s and stuff during segregation and everything like that, if you go through history, you would see that black people's faces weren't put on their albums at one point in time, because the thing is, they wouldn't sell well. And during the segregated 50s or 40s or whatever, black people were not given a fair shake. So the thing is, at that time, you needed an Elvis Presley, and this is why, because Elvis Presley was he was a great student of the game of black music, and he not only took on black music, but I'll go ahead and go through further. He had admirers. He admired a lot of people such as Chuck Berry, um, 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 Little Richard, all the big names at that time period. He admired them, and he took pieces from them and incorporated in his act. But at the same time, you needed an Elvis Presley at that time because by him singing a particular song, it became known. He made it known to the public that this song is out there, and then it led to the original maker of that song. A prime example is Little Richard. Little Richard did an interview about Elvis Presley, and mind you, Little Richard is one of the architects of of the thing we know as rock and roll today. And he said he met Elvis Presley, and Elvis Presley was a sweet guy. He was real cool and stuff like that. And Elvis Presley asked him if he could sing some of his songs, some of Little Richard's hit songs and everything, and put them on an album. You know what I mean? And then basically Little Richard gave him permission to go ahead and do that, because basically it got Little Richard some more money, which a lot of you people, if you know who Little Richard is, he was big about having some money, you know what I mean, and getting credit when credit was due. So that was one thing. But at least Elvis Presley did that. Unlike the real thief during this time period was a guy named Pat Boone. Pat Boone was another white guy who would sing black songs super white, and basically didn't get permission to go ahead and do it. He just stole these songs and just performed them, and it is what it is. And that's what a lot of the legends would go ahead and say. That's just how he did, and you were able to go ahead and get away with that back in the day. But how is this a lesson? You know what I mean? For Black America. The way I look at it is, the lesson is, if Black people supported entertainers and different people in positions that could be very influential, well, you wouldn't need an Elvis Presley. We wouldn't need an Elvis Presley whatsoever, because the thing is, the market would be flooded with so many superstars anyway at that point in time. Then you wouldn't need some white kid who sings black, which is what the dude from Sun Records, his first record company that he worked for, basically said that's what he was looking for. He was looking for a white kid who could sing black. But beyond all of that, the thing about Elvis Presley, which I really like about him, is that of him being the student of the game of music, he listened to all kinds of different things, such as he listened to rock, he listened to gospel, blues, country music, and he mixed all of that stuff together, and he made a new sound. And I think that's why he is known as the person that he is right now. As of late, he's been getting a lot of shade, you know what I'm saying? But his imagination of how he could go ahead and take music and make it into his own, just like he would take a song that he did, like Hound Dog, right? Or like one of my favorites is Jailhouse Rock, right? He would take that song. You hear him when he was young and everything, in his early 20s, singing it, and he sound crazy, but it was awesome, right? You hear it a couple of years later, he changed the song. You hear it some years later, he changed the song again, because I think he was just one of those type of guys who would get bored very quickly when it came to singing the same song over and over again. He always had to put a new twist on it, it seems. And this is just analyzing it from the live performances that he had done. And, you know, a lot of people will say, you know, young Elvis, new Elvis, young Elvis, old Elvis. There's a difference. There's one is better than the other. My whole thing is this. I think all of it is awesome. I think when he got older, even though he was hopped up on drugs and everything, and he had a crisis mentally, I think it showed more in his art of music, of how good he was. And even in that turmoil, he could still create and still make these hits that some people appreciated and some people really didn't, because some people wanted the old Elvis. Some people wanted, for him to be more inclined, like John Lennon had visited him in Graceland and said that he should be far more serious artist than he is at this point in time, even though this is the same guy that motivated him and his three little friends from Liverpool and Liverpool, England, or whatever else that they were from, and, inspired them to become the Beatles. So, I mean, it's funny how people are willing to go ahead and judge you for different things over and over again. Like with the thing of, in the black community, I've heard for many years that, Elvis Presley had said to Red Fox that only thing black people can do is shine his shoes. And I was like, first of all, if most of you, and I'm not saying I knew Red Fox personally, but from his persona, he don't seem like he would be a guy that would hang out with anybody that would say anything like that and be cool with it. He probably would punch him in the mouth. Let's take it a step further. Muhammad Ali hung out with Elvis Presley, and Elvis gave him a robe and everything. But the thing is, I know as outspoken as Muhammad Ali was and everything like that, I don't think he would hang around with a person like what people try to say Elvis Presley was at the time. So it's real confusing how people will just go ahead and throw hate game. And I'll take it a step further. So nowadays you have communities that come out of nowhere and go ahead and say something about him being involved with Priscilla Presley at 14 years old. Now, the full story on that, from my understanding, is this. It was his parents that was okay with it. I mean, not his parents, but it was Priscilla's parents that were okay with that. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that it is right for a man at the early to mid 20s that he was messing with a 14-year-old or whatever else. And who's to say if he messed with her, she's denied that he had sex with her beforehand or whatever else. But at the same time as this, it's the parents' fault for allowing her to go ahead and go with a whole nother man to a grown man's house to live with. You know what I mean? He was giving her money and everything like that, promised he'd never touch her and stuff like that, took her to the right schools and all this other stuff. But at the same time, that was the parents' fault. It's just like how you have people like Oprah to go ahead and try to downgrade Michael Jackson, saying that he molested kids and everything like that, which I do not believe he did. But it's just like on the David Chappelle show, if when he was when he pretended to be on the stand for the Michael Jackson case on that very subject, she asked him, do you think Michael Jackson did it? No, he didn't think that he did it. He was like, so you don't believe that he messed with little boys? No, he didn't think so. So then she asked, so are you saying you would let your kids go to Michael Jackson's house and spend the night with him? And he was like, hell no, I wouldn't let that happen. That's crazy. You never have an opportunity or something like that to even let something like that happen. Even though I don't believe he did that, I don't think that's a good call. You know what I mean? I don't care how much of a superstar you are. But that's my basic rant on this. I mean, I'm probably going to get some heat about it, but that's what I do. You know what I mean? As everybody knows, this is the Super Soul Warrior Dwan, and I'm out.